So, good morning then. I hope everyone is connected and everyone is in. Don't think we've anybody left in the waiting room. It took us a couple of minutes to do all the technical tests and everything, but now we're ready to start. So, good morning and welcome on behalf of AIIC Belgium to our webinar on the topic of e-invoicing. And I'm glad so many of you have taken the time on a Saturday morning to join us. As many, probably all of you, may already know, the new invoicing legislation will come into effect in Belgium on 1st of January 2026. And as self-employed, this will impact the way we issue, receive, and process invoices, and we have to get ready for it. And looking at our calendar, we have only 1 month left to do so. Therefore, AIIC Belgium, in collaboration with the private market sector, PRIMS, organized today's webinar. During the session, you will have the opportunity to get a practical legal overview concerning the key requirements for compliance and get to know some invoicing platforms. A big thank you goes already to our 3 invited guest speakers, Josefa Sieve from Bangkok, Alice Seegers from Udo, and Jonathan Hazel from Dockel for making themselves available and being here to present us their respective platform. And before we properly start, I would like to thank my fellow bureau colleagues, Elena Bocharova and Elisa Gallego, who together with our colleague and PRIMS coordinator, Federica Mamini, have put a lot of effort and time into the preparation of this webinar. And another big thank you goes to our colleague Ben Barclay, who's hosting today's session on the Zoom account. And speaking of Zoom, I think you've all seen it before. This meeting, we are recording it today because we had that many questions and interest that we think it is useful to have a recording of this. And I hope everybody's fine with that. And I suppose as well at this day and age, we're all familiar with the modalities of for online sessions. So please turn your camera on when you're speaking and mute your microphone on once you finish your contribution. And we also keep an eye on the chat for any questions, comments for the Q&A sessions later. And with that, I would like to hand over to Elisa now.
Thank you, Katia. We will start with the presentation straight away. We have foreseen a longer first presentation, which will be given by Josefa Siwi from Bangkok, and then we'll take note of your questions or any doubts right after, and then we will proceed to the next 2 presentations. So first, we'll start with Josefa. I'll give the floor to Josefa.
Thank you so much. I'm going to start sharing my slides now. Okay, I hope you guys all see this. Hope it's all.
Yes, we do.
Okay, perfect. So hello, everyone. Thank you guys for being here, especially on a Saturday morning. Welcome to this presentation on electronic invoicing and the PEPL network. So I'm here today to walk you guys through the upcoming mandates and explain what it means for your business. And I will go over how to prepare for it in the most efficient way possible. So I once again want to thank the AIIC. I don't know if I pronounced that right. AIIC for inviting me. Thank you guys so much. Let's get on to it. So I've already, just in case for those who didn't hear, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Josefa, and I work as a customer onboarding representative at Bangkok. You guys should know that Bangkok is the new name of Unified Posts because we're going through a rebranding right now. But yes, so I'm here to talk about e-invoicing and as well as give a quick demo of Bangkok, the platform. And I am curious. I would like to know how you guys currently issue and receive your invoices today. So if you guys have your smartphones with you, I invite you to pull out the phone scan the QR code, and then answer the quick survey. Like it's going to be real quick. There's only 5 questions, I think. Yeah, it's going to be real quick. It's just to make it a little more interactive, and also just to give me an overview of how things are at the moment for you guys. Give you guys um, another minute. Okay, we have some answers and some more coming up as well. That's great. Okay, give another 30 seconds because I see answers are still coming in. Okay, another 15 seconds. Okay, so first question, how do you currently receive your invoices? So the most answer I've got is email, by email, okay. PDF, non-standard. Not sure what that means actually. PDF document in the email, okay, that's a classic. PDF or hard copy. Pros? I'm not sure what pros is. Have to be honest. I don't receive invoices. Okay.
PROS is an online translation platform for interpreters,
Oh,
so it's a
okay.
specialized platform, but they don't have the solution.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. I learned something today. That's great. Okay. Oh, someone said so more emails, PDF, only work for EU, so none on paper. Okay. Docwell, okay. Via email, paper. Okay. Um, Second question, how do you currently issue your sales invoices? Someone said I don't have PDF, pros again, okay. Docwell, platform called Zervin. Oh, so Zervin is a platform. Okay, that's why I so learned something new today because I didn't know about that platform. Email, PDF by email, PDF by mail, mail. I don't have. Okay. Okay, is a PDF sent by email considered an electronic invoice? 2 people said yes, 15 people said no. Okay, you guys are already ahead of the curve because usually when I ask this question, I get the reverse. Most people say yes, and and less people say no. Okay, not bad, not bad. I see most of you already know something. Are you familiar with PEPL? So 2 people said yes, 9 people say I have heard of it but never used it. 6 people said not familiar with PEPL. Okay, all good. I will also talk about PEPL. So hopefully that will be clear. And do you feel prepared for the upcoming electronic invoice requirement? One person said somewhat prepared. 13 people said not prepared at all. And 2 people said need more information. Okay, all good. Hopefully, um, you guys will feel more comfortable after this.
Josefa, you're muted. Have to unmute
Oh, I
yourself
actually
again.
accidentally muted myself. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's get right into it. So, let's start with the why. So here's a key takeaway. So starting January 1st, 2026, all invoices exchanged between Belgian businesses must be sent in an electronic format. So this decision was pushed forward nationally by the former Minister of Finance, Vincent Van Petegem, in line with the European Union directive. So this is a huge change, I'm aware, and it can seem intimidating, sorry, but fear not because I'm here to make the topic a bit more clear for you guys. So let's just go over real quick the evolution of like invoicing methods. So the first one was the traditional one, which is the sorry, invoicing. And just so you guys know, this method has a cost. Like think about it. You have to buy the paper, you have to buy the ink, not to mention you have to like go to the post office to send out your invoice. And it's also unsustainable and it requires a lot of manual work. So this means printing the invoices, stuffing envelopes, filling them, and all of that takes time and energy and can also lead to errors. Next was the digital invoicing, which a lot of you guys do currently. You receive and send out PDF of your invoices, and compared to paper invoices, it's faster, it's cheaper too, and also eco-friendly. But there's a major drawback, and the drawback is that it's not automated. Okay, you still have to open the emails, download the PDFs, and then manually enter all the information. And that brings us to our final goal, which is true electronic invoicing. What is an electronic invoice? Well, it's an invoice that is issued, transmitted, and processed in a structured electronic format. To give more context, so to your left, you have an image of a paper slash PDF invoice. To your right, you have the image of an electronic invoice. So it is absolutely essential for me to make it clear that a PDF is not an electronic invoice. Most of you guys already knew that. That's great, but I just want to emphasize that again. And I want to emphasize it again because a PDF is only an image. It contains no data that a software can process automatically. A UBL, on the other hand, the UBL is what you have on your right. On the other hand, like it contains like all the data, all the information in a structured format. And the good news is that with the right like platform, such as Bankup, the technical complexity stays behind the scenes, and to you, it will still look like a regular schmegular invoice. So once again, paper invoice, PDF are not like starting January 1st, not allowed anymore. Electronic invoice, UBL formats going to the PEPL network, that's going to be the new norm starting January 1st, 2026. So, as you know, this mandate comes from the European Union directive, and Belgium is not the only one like is not alone in this. Okay, January 1st is the date that has been chosen by our country, but there were already other EU countries such as Italy, who have moved on to electronic invoicing. And you guys should also be aware that in the upcoming years, other EU countries will follow suit. So the EU goal is threefold. It's to standardize practices, improve tax transparency, and of course, fight fraud by automating invoice auditing. So globally, this mandate aims to make exchanges faster, more secure, more efficient. So the main benefit, of course, is improved security. And today, invoices sent by email or mail are vulnerable. For example, if you send it through like a postal service, the paper invoice in your letter in the envelope can be lost or stolen. And for email, there's a risk of hacking, sensitive data leaks. It's a real thing. It's frequent too. So another thing is security, of course, to improve that across all businesses. So everything is secure. There's no loss, no unreliable middleman, and all your data stays protected. You guys must also be wondering what are some benefits for you. Well, one of the benefits is like a better visibility and optimized management of your invoices, for example. So faster payments and better communications with your clients. And also security will be boosted, so no more risk of invoice interception. Storage will be centralized. Well, storage is more for because you guys are interpreters, so it might be a little different when it comes to storage, quote unquote. But even so, if you have all your invoices on one platform. It's all centralized. It makes things like go a little smoother. So it also cuts processing costs and reduces the risk of errors. Also know that with our platform BankUp, your invoices can be directly created onto BankUp and then sent electronically. So you won't need to print the invoice, to like deliver it to your accountant or even like email them. So to summarize, the advantages are lower costs, time savings, a decrease in errors, centralized and accessible invoices with maximum security, a professional image, and environmental sustainability. So, yeah. So let's once again look at who's concerned by these new mandates. So for B2G, so business to government, it was already mandatory. So that means that companies invoicing the government, the mandate has been in place since March 1st, 2024, I think. Yeah, March 1st, 2024. And starting in January 2026, this is going to apply also to all Belgian companies doing a B2B invoicing, so business to business. I see that there are questions in the chat. I will get to them. I also want to start saying that now because I know I get this question a lot, but this really applies to invoices sent to other Belgian businesses. So to VAT registered clients, suppliers, et cetera. Like this only applies to Belgium. Of course, the goal is that in the future that we do intra EU, we send invoices to other EU countries, but for now, this mostly applies to Belgium. And then, of course, as you know, this does not apply to regular customers because they are not VAT registered. They don't have a no. This only applies to other businesses, to other VAT registered clients, suppliers, self-employed people, etc., etc.
Josefa,
So, yes.
if I may come in on this, someone had asked before, they had sent us the question beforehand on whether this would be applicable to clients abroad. If we issue an invoice to a client that is based in another EU country, not in Belgium, would it also be applicable?
No, absolutely not. That is, of course, the goal of the EU. Of course, I want to let you guys know, but it's not for now. Like this only applies to Belgian to VAT registered people in Belgium and businesses, self-employed, but only to Belgium. So if you do send out invoices to foreign companies, you can still proceed that. Like you can still proceed that as you do now, like through emails or through the post. I don't know how you guys like handle that, but yeah. And then with our platform BankUp, there is a way to like, of course, import those invoices that you sent abroad, but this new mandate in January is really for businesses in Belgium. Yes, and regular folks are not concerned. They also get their invoices through email because they don't have a VAT number. So let us take a look at the lady in the center of this image. So let's say, she sells bikes to regular folks, right? So when it comes to business to consumer, so B2C, she does not have to do it electronically. They don't have a VAT number. They're not concerned by this. She can still she can even print out her invoices and give them like in hand. Like that's not a problem when it comes to B2C, so business to consumer. However, even if she only has B2C, she only does B2C invoices, she still needs to receive her invoices from her suppliers. She needs an access point to be able to receive those. So because I get that question a lot too. So yeah, so this lady sells to B2C, but she still needs to be able to receive from her suppliers. So which is because it's B2B, so she needs an access point. And yeah, and then if this lady were to ever sell a bike to the government, it would also need to be in the electronic way. So B2G is electronic, B2B is also electronic. I hope that's a little clearer, but of course I will take on more questions towards the end. So yeah, B2B, B2C, VAT registered in Belgium. I also do get the question, are there exceptions to this rule, to this new mandate? There are, but very, very few, such as like businesses going bankrupt. I know that they're exempted because they're going bankrupt. But for the vast majority of VAT registered businesses, self-employed, etc., are concerned by these new mandates. And I recommend whenever I have those calls or talks with them, I recommend that they get, ready right now, and not on January 1st. But yes, so there are very few, there are very few exceptions. Most people are concerned by this. It's better to get started now. And as you guys are probably also aware, there will be penalties for non-compliance. And I know the first offense is amounts to 1,000 to 1,500 euros, I think. Then the second one amounts to 3,000 euros, and then after that it'll be 5,000 euros every time a fine is issued. And there is a grace period, but the government is very clear on this. They will be fining people who do not comply with the new legislation. To the next one. So, so let's look at the current process. So today, an invoice follows a long process. You create it on your software, on Word, Excel, PDF, etc. And then you print it or you make it a PDF that you send by email. And then your client receives it, manually enters the information, passes on to their accountant, etc., etc. And those are a lot of steps, if we're being honest. And the goal is to, instead of having all those steps, the goal is to go from point A to point B, to like simplify all of that, to like eliminate some of the steps into sending out an invoice. And then because with electronic invoices, the UBL is just generated onto your platform, and then sent out your client, who just receives it also on their platform, and then can proceed with handling the invoice. So yeah, you're supposed to like save time, reduce errors, and lower your costs with the in electronic formats of an invoice. So just to summarize, so invoicing will be done exclusively in a UBL electronic format. The new invoices will be exchanged over a secure network. Who is concerned? Who does this mandate apply to? It concerns Belgian companies in their dealings with public administration, and especially with other companies, with anyone who's VAT registered right here in Belgium. When, you guys already know, January 1st. And of course, why prepare now? Because the transition offers numerous benefits, such as, better security, significant time savings, a modernized image, etc., etc. And then how? All exchanges must be done via the PEPL network, which some of you have said that you have heard of, which is great too. And through this network, we're supposed to guarantee that both security and efficiency of guarantee efficiency and security of exchanges of electronic invoices exchanges. So PEPL, real quick. So PEPL is a network. It is through this network that the electronic invoices will be sent. It will be going through this network. It's the one we have in Belgium, but I think it also applies to other EU countries, because PEPL stands for Pan-European something something. So yeah, it's not just us, it's also the other EU countries, of course. So let us imagine that you are a supplier, and you're going to send your invoice through PEPL. So you create it, right? You create your invoice, but you need an access point. You do not access PEPL like this. Like, you cannot register on PEPL itself, because it's a network. It's the way which the invoices will be going through. So you need an access point to PEPL. So you choose you choose the access point of your choice, because there's many on the market, of course. So you create your invoice, you upload or create it from your access points, and then it goes through the PEPL. It is sent through the PEPL network to arrive. No, it's working. Yeah, to arrive onto the access point of your receiver, and then on their side, they just process the invoice they've just received. Because when I deal with entrepreneurs, I get a lot of questions. Like, they want to know if they can just register on PEPL directly, but that is not possible, because it's just a network through which the invoices will be going through, pretty much. So no, you need an access point to PEPL, and the access point I will show you today is BankUp. There are others on the market, but I'm here for BankUp. So let's imagine you guys have your Bankup accounts. You create that invoice, like either you import your invoice onto Bankup or you create one on Bankup. Then you are ready to send when everything is good. Like you save it and then you're ready to send it out. And then you send it out. The invoice goes through Peppol, and then it gets to the access point of your client who also has Bankup as an access point, and then so they receive it, and then they can start paying the invoice if they need to. I mean, they need to pay the invoice because that's a must. They don't have a choice. But yes, so Peppol is pretty much the network to which the invoice will be going through. You cannot sign up directly onto Peppol. You need an access point, and that's why they mention it. They bring it up often because it is the network. So how to register? I think it's better for me to show you Bankup now, because yeah, you guys should also know, for those who might choose Bankup, that it's not automatic. It's you sign on to create an account onto Bankup, but you're not automatically registered on Peppol. You have to go into the Peppol network, onto the network connectors to activate that. So, but I'm going to show you Bankup. I think it's better. I don't know if you guys still see my screen.
Yes, we do.
Okay, perfect. So when you go onto bankup.com, this is what you see. So this is a website. Let me put it in English. I'm sorry, because I'm a French speaker, so I tend to, it is in French for now, but this is what you see when you're onto the Bankup site. And then to create an account, it's real quick. Just click on sign up, because you don't have, it's not like a huge software that you need to download. It's pretty much a website. And then of course, oh, the tab on top is getting on in the way. What was I going to say? Yeah, I just need to show you guys the app too. Is this? Yes. Okay, so you also need the Bankup One app, because it's the way to sign on to onto Bankup. So the first thing to do, if you guys decide to go with the Bankup, the first thing to do is to download the Bankup One app. And then once you've done that, you've downloaded the app, you can go back onto Bankup and click to sign up sign up and have your Bankup account. Okay, so I also have the app. You guys I don't know if you guys can see my cell phone, but I'm going to log on to it right now. I have the Bankup app on my phone. First thing is, yeah, also you guys should know that we don't do usernames and password, because that's not secure enough. We've opted for signing on and signing up with the app and a QR code. So we are sure that it is you that is logging onto your Bankup account. So this is really because of security. We're trying to make things a lot more secure. So I'm going to sign up now. I mean, like, log in now, because I already have an account. So I log onto it. I scan the QR code. And there's also biometrics. Login confirmed. And perfect. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when you log on to Bankup. You have an overview of your to-do list, insights on purchase and sales invoices, and then of course you have the favorite apps. I hope you guys can still see my screen. Hope it's going well. Okay. Let me go on into the purchase invoices. You guys tend to be interpreters. Like, I don't know if you guys get that many purchase invoices, maybe not. So I'll start with the sales invoices. Like, because you guys issue invoices to your clients. So this is what it will look like. You have, of course, customer name, document, the type, because we don't also only do invoice, we also do credit notes, etc., and also quotes. So you will see the type of document, the amount due, the date it was created on, etc., etc. And then of course you can also change the columns and add whatever else modify it as you see fit. For my case, I've kept kept it basic. Let me give you an aperçu of this invoice. Thanks. So when you click on an invoice, you will always see the PDF version of it, and also the more structured format too. And whenever you receive oh no, you guys don't receive invoices. So you you create an invoice. You can either import it onto BankUp, or you could create directly from BankUp. And then when you create one or you import one, you always have a PDF overview. And then on the side, you have all the other details, like the document dates, the due date, the line items, the subtotals, and then the bank accounts, all the reference, etc., etc. And when all is good, you can either save the invoice or you can send it out. Let me see if I can just create an invoice right now. Let me quickly try to create one just so you guys can see what it looks like. And also we have an AI chatbot to kind of help you. Okay, so here is the information of my company. It's called Wine and Dine, and then you'll see my CBE, my address, and then here are the document details. And I'm not gonna put a delivery date just yet because it's just to show you guys. But then it can be a credit note or an invoice. But in this case, we're gonna stick with invoice. You can add a reference, and then let me add some items there. Yeah, let's say I sell chocolate bunnies. So I put in bunny, and then of course I can add the product to the catalog, and then I choose the quantity, like 6, and the units. There's many units. Of course, we have piece, article, kilograms, metric tons, etc. But while you guys are professionals, you probably charge by the hour. I think so. 6. Let me put in 10 euros. So 6 hours, 10 euros per hour, and then the VAT at 21%, for example. I don't know what is the VAT for you guys, but so yeah, I still put a VAT at 21%, and then you have the total amount. If this is an invoice that has already been paid and you're just adding it onto a BankUp, you can already mark it as paid, for example. And when you do, you can just, put in more payment details, such as was it a bank transfer? Was it cash, credit card, etc., etc. It's all up to you guys. And then of course you have all the payment references at the bottom. And then you add in your bank account that's going to be saved in the settings, etc., etc. You can also add some more notes, should you guys choose to. And then you simply save the draft. Wait, I forgot to add in the customer. I'm sorry. Angelina Jolie, save the draft. Sorry, I feel like my Wi-Fi is a little slow. Goodness. It says please wait. Okay, perfect. So the document was saved. So I go back. Its status is draft, of course, and then I go back to my. So it's right here. It doesn't have a name, but that's why it says auto-generate. But customers Angelina Jolie, and this is the one I just created right now, 10:38 a.m. And then you see the status, of course. When it's not a draft anymore, then it's gonna change status too, because this is the document creator. This is where you see your sales invoice, your credit note, your sales quote, and once it changes status, it moves away. It moves onto the right what's the word for it? I'm so sorry. It's hard to speak English, but yeah. Yeah, so yeah, you also have the option to import sales invoices, of course, because I know I also have entrepreneurs. They don't like the way they don't like the templates we have for the sales invoice on BankUp, so they would prefer to import their words created invoice. They convert it into PDF and then they import it, and we have an OCR that's going to read the PDF, extract the data from it, and then you just have to make sure everything is good. And once that's the case, you just send out the invoice. So that's the document creator.
Josefa, on this importing issue, some of our members were asking if there is a system by which you can import your database of previous clients, because they already have solutions, so they can look back at the past years and have an extract if this type of information could be imported into BankUp.
Yes, absolutely. But to be sure, I just want to be sure I understood the question. You guys you have a list of clients and you want to import the lists?
Yes, either a list of clients or perhaps invoices from the past. So either
Yeah,
one.
absolutely.
Yep.
Yes. You can import it. Just the only thing is if you're importing anything, any documents, because you can import pretty much anything onto the platform. Whenever you import, you just have to make sure like the OCR reads the PDF, and then you just make sure everything is correct just in case. And if that's the case, you save it as a draft. And whenever you're ready to send out the invoice, you send it out. But of course, you do have the option to import any documents you choose. And it doesn't only have to be an invoice, right? You can also use BankUp as a way to, because I know some entrepreneurs, they do put in their coupons or their boom for their clients. So you can import pretty much anything as you see fit, and whenever you save it as a draft, and then whenever you're ready, you send out the my casket keeps sliding down, and then whenever you're ready, you just send out the invoice, of course. Yes. And we have when you add, you create your list of clients or partners, etc. We have a business that's in the business partner um, side of things. So this is where you would add your business partners, whether they're like customer, clients, suppliers, etc. And then the business types: is it a company? Is it the government? Well, let me see if I can show you guys. Company, government. Okay, we haven't added any governments, but the government could also potentially be added onto this. All right, so sales invoice for you guys. You also have the option of creating like sales quotes. And then once you've created the quotes and everything is all good with it, you can also transform it into a sales invoice. So that's an option, of course. The business partner is where you would add all your clients, suppliers, etc. You can also add payments because we offer integrated payment into BankUp, but it's not a must. It's just there if you want to, of course. The document creator is where you create other documents as well. And then your inbox is where let me click on it, is where you see all the incoming invoices from from your clients or suppliers. Well, you guys don't have suppliers because you guys don't really, yeah. But this is, if you get an invoice from someone else, this is where you can see it either in the inbox or into the purchase invoices, one or the other. And then you have a catalog, of course, to add in whatever. I don't know how you guys tend to invoice, because I have to be honest, it's the first time I've had to interact with interpreters, but maybe, I don't know, you could, in the catalog, you could add a interpreting, and then as a service, and then the unit would be the hour or the minutes, and then you add into the catalog, which is non-food in this case. But etc. Because I have to admit, I'm not sure how it works for you guys. But yeah, this could be a way to save your your talents and skills into the catalog if you should you guys choose to. And then the net price, I don't know, maybe you guys charge 500 euros at a 21% VAT rate. And then you add notes. And then you just pretty much save it. Just needs a minute to show up. Into the non-food, okay. And then you have interpreting right here as a service, unit hours, net price, 500 euros per hours, etc. Yes, and then I should show you guys how to activate Peppol. So that's the thing. So when you log onto it for the first time, the first thing to do, of course, is to go onto network connectors. So you click on it, and then you have two options. You have the Peppol connector, the email connector, and then email is if you want to use BankUp to send out an invoice to like your foreign clientele. That's perfect. That's fine. You just activate the email connector, and then you will be able to create an invoice on BankUp and send it via email to your clientele. And then if it has to be another VAT registered person here in Belgium, it's going to be through Peppol. Pretty much just activate that. Hope you guys still see my screen, but yeah, so this is what it looks like, activating Peppol connector. And then this is linked to your VAT or CBE, etc. I don't know how it works for you guys, but it's going to be linked So your registered number, because the PEPL ID is, I think it's the VAT and other numbers in front of it. So, and that's how people find you too, because it's your VAT plus the PEPL numbers are in front of it. And then yes. And then you allow that. And then you just activate that and you're good to go. You will receive an email confirmation that you are on PEPL, that BankUp is your access point to PEPL. And then once you get the confirmation, you can start sending out invoices the electronic way. And yeah, you're good to go, pretty much. Yes.
Thank you, Josefa. Thank you very much. You have about 4 minutes left.
Oh, okay. Let
Can
me
we
take some
have
questions.
a few questions on the chat? But if you could, if there's anything important that you'd like to stress before we give the floor to the next presenter.
I want to say that there is also the PEPL directory to find other VAT registered people on PEPL. But the directory takes some time to update. So, because I also get that question from other entrepreneurs. So just so you guys know, but indeed, that's pretty much it from my side. I hope that was a little clearer. And if there are any important questions I can take on, because I see there's a chat.
Thank you, Josefa. I think many people actually asked questions in the chat.
Yeah, true.
And Jonathan was quite active. Thank you, Jonathan. So
he answered. Indeed, he is answering. Yes. That's very kind of him. Yes.
Yes. Do you, I'm talking to the attendees, do you have any burning questions? Would you like to take the floor, switch on your cameras, and yes, ask a question to Josefa?
Any questions? Let me look at the chat too.
Yes.
Yeah, someone said, can you use the e-invoicing platform? Yes, you can generate invoices for clients that are not on PEPL. Private clients, yes, on BankUp you can. And then you just choose the email connector to send it to them via email.
Is there an automatic invoice numbering system? And if so, what about the numbering of invoices to customers who do not have a VAT or are not in Belgium?
Oh, yes, there is an automatic numbering, and it's in, but the numbering only takes place when you send out the invoice. So it doesn't matter the type of customer, whether it's a VAT register or a private client, that's fine. But the numbering goes by when it's sent out, that's when you get number one, and you sent another one, you get number two, you send another one, you get number three. So, and whether those clients were VAT registered or not, that doesn't really matter. At least not on BankUp. I cannot speak for other access points. Everyone is different. Everyone does their own thing. Someone said live goes selling chocolate bunnies. Indeed. I have a VAT number, but not invoice VAT due to small enterprise exemption. I must be obligated. Yes. You are. If you have a VAT number, you guys must receive and send electronic invoice. Because some people, they think because they don't send out, it doesn't apply to them, but it does. If you have to receive, then receive or send. Yes. If you're not under Article 44, you're not exempted. I'm sorry, you guys. Yes, please get ready. If you have only private customer, yeah, you still need to register on PEPL. Absolutely. Someone said, why not have done the presentation in French? I'm sorry, you guys. I thought I don't know. But if you guys want, I do presentations in French on the BankUp website. You can find me there.
There's a final question, then we can move on to the next speaker. Yes. What if my client does not comply with the rule and by 1st of January is not registered at PEPL? How can I still send my invoice?
Okay, the problem is you will not be able to send it to them, but fear not, if you are registered on PEPL, you don't have to worry about a fine. You did your due diligence. But the person who's not registered only can not only not receive the invoice, but they will get a fine. So the only thing is you can, send them an email saying I was not able to send you the invoice. Please get on board and please find your access point so I can, quickly send you your invoice. And also, I know, I had someone like Mr. Delvaux from ITA. He said that you can also say you're not going to pay them the VAT portion of the invoice. I don't know if that makes sense because I'm speaking really fast. But if you have your access point, you're registered, you don't have to worry about fines. They do, not you.
Okay, that's good. That's good news. Thank you very much. Thank you, Josefa.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That was excellent. We now have to move on to the next speaker. So I'd like to introduce Alice Segers from Udo. Alice, can you see us? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
That's great. I'll give you the floor. And then, of course, all the questions will be answered, maybe later we will, save the chat with the answers as well. So you'll receive the materials with the presentations as well. And this meeting is recorded as well. So you do have a recording. Please, Alice, you have the floor.
Yes. Do you all see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay, perfect. So hi everyone, good morning or good afternoon already. Welcome to the webinar also. I will talk about Odoo and Peppol, but more importantly, show you guys how you can start today with e-invoicing in Odoo. Because Josepha already told a lot of information about Peppol, the background and so on. So I will introduce Odoo a little bit. Voilà, maybe to introduce myself, my name is Alice. I am a partnership manager at Odoo. I worked there already for 3 years, which is a long time at Odoo because we're a very young company with a lot of young people. First, I was a business advisor helping entrepreneurs digitalize their company, and now I focus on partnerships. So I don't know how many people today know Odoo. I saw when asking the question how you're sending and receiving your invoices in the previous presentation, Odoo didn't show up once, so maybe not everyone knows. But to give you a small understanding, Odoo is actually an all-in-one business management software that integrates applications like really different seats, like accounting, but also invoicing standalone, sales, inventory, but also the whole HR department and more. Today, I think we have over 85 different applications, those to all solve your business or your business needs. So we are really here to help companies streamline processes, but also reduce manual work, and just to be way more efficient as a company, and this all in one single platform. Maybe also nice to know as a little background, Odoo is a Belgian company, which makes it really cool also to work for, or I am happy to work for. And really to be really fun to be part of a movement as we're growing very fast. So as I told you before, we have an application for every need. So we're actually an integrated solution, and it's super easy. In that way, you see a lot of modules here, and we all provide them in one system. They're all in-house, developed by our own developers, so no other apps needed. Okay. So as discussed already, and that's also why the meeting is here today, Peppol is currently a very hot topic, leaving many questions for entrepreneurs. Also with the deadline approaching in January, there is a real strong demand for information. And I think even more for support for entrepreneurs. And Odoo really observes this need and also tries to solve this. Important to know is that Odoo has an invoicing module that can be standalone, and that Odoo is next to the ERP system can be used as an invoice module, but it's also a Peppol access point. We developed that access point ourselves, so we are not using any third party for it, which means it's 100% free. This also means you can use our invoice module with Peppol for free. Odoo is at the moment, I think, present in 140 countries. So we closely monitor all the regulations in each of them. And the goal is, of course, to be able to offer electronic invoicing to all those countries. As long as this can be done via Peppol and there are no recurring costs involved, we will be able to offer this completely for free. So this is really nice. So regardless of whether you are on our paid plan, because if you want the whole ERP system, it's of course a paid subscription, or the free plan if you're only using our accounting module or our invoicing module. So how does this work? I think maybe enough theory. I want to show you a little bit of Odoo. So let's dive into Odoo. I think a lot of people are maybe scared of the idea of Peppol, how to be compliant. Is it complex? Will it take much time? Yeah, and so on, so on. So I really want to try to show you today, or that's my goal today, that it can be quite easy. In just a few clicks, you can actually activate a database within Odoo and register to Peppol. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to do so. So I went to the website, and as you can see here, this is our website, and we're gonna make a database. So everyone can make a database, which is free. If you only take one application, it will stay free. If you take multiple applications, then it will stay free for 14 days. Okay, so I'm gonna start and I'm gonna immediately make the database. Here, as I explained before, Odoo is more than only invoicing. So we have a lot of modules. So really, if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking for an all integrated system, it's so easy. You can start from having your website, your CRM and sales, but also your inventory, your whole accounting, everything's included. So for today, we'll focus on the invoicing. I'm just going to select that one. Here you also see it's free for unlimited users and forever. I'm going to create a database by, I'm going to call the company Peppel for now. I'm going to put the language in English, and I'm also going to say I'm a student, so I don't get a call from an Odoo salesperson on Monday asking if they can help. And now we're actually creating the database. In only a few clicks, it will just take a few seconds, and then we created our database. So what you see here is actually the Odoo dashboard. The notification you see here at the front is actually an activation mail. So it's really important you always activate your database. Otherwise, it will be expired within 3 hours because Odoo will think it was a mistake. So always confirm your database if you don't want to lose your data. I'm first going to my preferences, and I'm going to change the theme because I feel like this is a little bit too dark. It's a Saturday morning, so I want it to be lighter. I like this more. And then we see a few modules. Odoo is very intuitive, or tries to be as user-friendly as possible. So you see also here this drop that will guide you through the system, will show you what you need to do. So if I click on invoices, this is the invoicing dashboard. You see here the sales invoices, also the purchase invoices, a summary of them. And just also know that you can connect your bank with Odoo. Every 4 hours, the bank statements get uploaded into the system. So you have a very accurate idea of how your company is doing payment-wise and so on. So that's also really nice. For now, I'm going to create an invoice to start. I'm going to click on New. And I'm gonna make an invoice for a client. I always in a demonstration use Colruyt Group. That's an easy one or a known one in Belgium. So when I click on Colruyt, the system or Odoo actually works with an autocomplete fill-in. We work with a certain database. I forgot the name, but I can search it for you if some of you are interested. But it's really easy. So you can just with a few information fill it in, and the system will autocomplete the rest of the information, being contact details, contact information, but also text. So in which industry the client or this lead is. So really nice. And then I can just save it. Now I'm going to create an invoice. I'm just going to quickly create a product. I'm going to call it consultancy, for example. I'm going to create it on the spot, and I'm going to give it a price of €1,000, for example. You also see the taxes here, and voilà. Before we can send the invoice to the client, you of course have to confirm it. So that's what I'm going to do first. And then you here see the invoice, and now we can send it to our client. The first time you will send an invoice, you get the opportunity to change your layout. So now you see it's a little bit dry, but you can choose from multiple themes. I really like the wave one, for example. And you can also change, of course, the colors, things that need to come on there. And you can add your logo also. I have the Odoo logo here. Voila. So it changes immediately. And I'm going to add the address. I'm going to say street, for example. I have not that much information. And I'm going to say it's in Antwerp. Voila. Okay. What's really important is that you need to add a tax ID, because this is also the link of Peppol to see which client is on Peppol, who is not. So this is really important you fill this in. I have the Odoo VAT number here, so I'm gonna copy it. Voila, and I'm gonna add it to the link. What's also interesting at Odoo is that you can really easy put a QR code on the invoice to make it easier for your clients to pay the invoice immediately. So no, this is also something that can be done. Then I'm gonna click on continue. And this is actually really important. So when we click through, here's what you actually see, or what we always call it, we apply the PEPAL first. So what does that mean? We are our own access points. So we can actually, or we can immediately check based on the VAT number, whether your customer or a customer is already on PEPAL. No, it's a two-way street. So if your customer is not on PayPal today, you cannot send the invoice via PayPal, but then also this will not be here or will not be represented here. So the invoice will be sent directly. But that's why we apply the PayPal first. So when creating your customer, it's actually on two things. When creating your customer or when sending your invoice, Odoo will automatically check if the customer is registered on PayPal. If they are, you will see the PayPal button here actually. In this database, we are not yet PEPAL compliant ourselves because, of course, we made the database, or I made a database just now in this meeting. So as a result, I'll also see a blue banner, actually prompting us that we have to register with a PEPAL access point.
Alice, there's a question which I think could be
Yes.
answered now. As for the tax ID, does it have to be our or the ID of the customer I send to the invoice?
No,
I
both.
send the invoice to, sorry. Yep.
Yes, both.
Both, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also your tax ID will be included automatically, but just because we made a database now, I had to do it manually.
Of course, yeah.
So it's really important to know, this is also said before, that you can have an access point for sending and for receiving invoices. You can only receive in one place, but you can send from multiple places, okay? So what we will do now is we will actually only register for receiving because we already are registered for sending, because we already are registered for receiving. Okay, so here I can see, okay, how should I do it? It will give you a little summary of what is PEPAL and why it is great. Let's activate, okay. And then here we see actually the 3 things we need to register on PEPAL. So you only need your email address, phone number, and the tax ID. I'm gonna add my phone number. Like this. And what I'm also going to do, or what's important here, now you have the Belgian company registry, but for now, because we're in a demo database, I'm going to use the Odoo demo ID, otherwise it will not work. And then I can activate PEPAL, which is really easy. We now see in the right corner, you can now send and receive electronic invoices via PEPAL. So it's really, really easy. It only took a few clicks, and you're actually now registered on PEPAL. That's it. So it only took 30 seconds, which is really interesting. I'm not going to send the email, or I can click not by sending the email, because otherwise Colruyt will really, in reality, receive our invoice, which would be weird. But just know how this, how easy it is to register on PEPAL. What's also important is that Odoo, or what's really easy, is that Odoo also gives a summary of all your invoices and also the status. Of course, the invoice status, but also the PEPAL status. So if there would be, if the client received the PEPAL invoice, or if there would be an error in some kind of way, you would also see it here at the status. Okay, you will get the updates. Now, e-invoicing is, of course, super interesting for incoming invoices. So we are really working with standard formats. So this is really, PEPAL makes it actually very easy, or makes the input much easier. So these are our sales invoices, but of course, for purchase invoices, it's also really easy. I'm going to now upload a vendor bill to show you. I'm going to see if I have one here. I think this is an invoice. And just by clicking once, I just made a fake vendor bill. It gets uploaded in the system, and everything is completely filled in automatically. So you can see here from the product line, I need to refresh. Sometimes you need to refresh because it takes a while. So from the product line to all information above, everything is actually populated with just one click. So it's really convenient. What's also important to know with Peppol, actually, the PDF is not that important, but still Odoo Odoo will always does it by default. And also you see here, you will also see the PDF when it's linked or attached to an invoice. You will see it here and you will see it here actually on your right side. Okay. So that's really interesting. Also really easy at Odoo is that you can just click on pay and you can pay the invoice immediately. Super easy for small business owners, which is extremely convenient. But maybe for larger companies or bigger ones, you wouldn't do it one by one. Just also know that Odoo provides the option to pay in bulk, of course. But this is actually a quick demonstration. So you have an idea of the Peppol and how it works in Odoo. And also, I just wanted to keep it simple. So you see in just a few minutes or clicks, you can send the invoices and you are registered to Peppol, what will be needed. So going back to the slides. 1 second. I'm going to put it on the big screen again. So going back to the slides, we actually see that the requirements, or Odoo really sees the requirements as an opportunity to really strengthen collaborations between entrepreneurs, but also accountants. So that's why we really want to work now together on a common platform. So this is an opportunity to do that. It really creates a great chance for entrepreneurs and accountants to collaborate more efficiently. And also for accountants, this really, they know this change is coming for already the last year. So they already are trying to evolve and adapt and to digitalize. So there are also a lot of good things about this, okay? It also moves us to real-time accounting. So as I showed you before, you will get a real-time accounting. Invoices arrive automatically, but they are also matched automatically. So you get a real-time overview without needing to call your accountant, without, don't know or don't have an idea what is happening in your company yourself.
Alice,
So,
there's a
yes.
question that you might want to answer. Can we personalize the format of the invoice, including a logo?
Yes, so you can personalize a little bit, but as Odoo is a standard ERP system, the limitations are quite, it's limited. So you can choose from the themes. It's not that you can import your own template, for example. So you have to the standard layouts of Odoo, but of course you can add your own logo, you can change the colors, you can add extra info. We also have a module Odoo Studio where you can add information. So if you need specific information, you can use it as well. So with Studio, you have more options to customize, but in the standard ERP, you really have to follow the layout of what Odoo is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I think what's really important is the onboarding part, and we really want to commit to that. We really want to be the support for entrepreneurs and accountants as Odoo's company. So our commitment to accountants is really important today. So what we do at the moment is we have actually a monthly newsletter, not with like marketing bullshit of Odoo or in that way, but really a newsletter with all information, new regulations, tips and tricks in that way to really inform people, entrepreneurs, but also accountants. We also now at Odoo have a dedicated support team for accountants. So these are all people that were accountants themselves or they studied it. So they really have the knowledge to support the accountants. And we do a lot of free sessions for our clients and accountants as well, or we participate in a lot of sessions. So that's why we're also always happy to join sessions also today. So thanks for the invitation. But this is really important. At Odoo, we really focus on the onboarding. We think it's really important. Today, we actually use or provide, we create Odoo Academies. These are free events we organize. We do that every 2 weeks or every few weeks at our Antwerp office and in Louvain-la-Neuve, where we invite a lot of entrepreneurs. They can come for free, they can come set up the database, and they will actually get onboarded into our ERP system. We have it specialized for different sort of modules. So also for accounting, it's a 2-day onboarding, totally free, and after 2 days you're an expert in Odoo yourself. But also just the only part invoicing and PayPal, it takes half a day. You're always welcome to come to our office and we'll help you with that. Just know it's important. The academies or the trainings are free and everybody's welcome. And then we also have specialized academies for accountants, so we can support them also, and they know how to use Odoo for their clients again. So the onboarding part is really important for us. We want to be as accessible as possible, and that's why we do the big trainings or the big onboardings in group to help as many people as possible. To also be compliant with PayPal, to be compliant with all the e-invoicing regulations for the upcoming years. So that's a really important one. So to conclude, the most important part of the goal of my presentation today is actually just to show you how simple it is to be compliant with a certain system. Just know that at Odoo it's free, which is also super nice. We try to be as accessible as possible. So from creating the database to going to our onboardings, it's free. And we are here to support and to help. So I think that's the most important things that I wanted to say today. So thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Alice. So there is a question for you. During the academies, do we get assistance to set up Odoo based on our specific business situations, or is there a number, an email we can contact for more tailor-made assistance?
Yes, so we do have 2 ways of working. So you have the onboardings, which are free, accessible for everyone, but indeed you are there with a lot of people. We also have tailored help. So we have a help desk, but purely for setting up the database. We also have tailored help, but that is paid. So then a consultant or one individual, an accounting expert, will be focused on your project, and you will do it together with an accountant of ours. It depends on how big the project is or how much work there is. We make an estimation, and we have actually hourly packs. So it's 25 hours or 50 hours. So if somebody is interested in that, we can also, check if that's an option. But we do individual trainings and the group trainings. Only the individuals are paid.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Do you have other questions or remarks? If if somebody wants to take the floor, please do so. Don't be afraid. Otherwise, well, I don't see any raised hand, so I think we can move on to the next speaker. And I give the floor to Elisa.
Yes, and I introduce Jonathan Hassel, who has been answering some questions on the chat already. Thank you. There was Klaus Riete. You had a question?
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm just coming back to my question. The ID, the tax ID. The answer was we have to indicate our own tax ID plus the customer's tax ID. But I saw on the mask only one line. How do I really put 2 different tax IDs into this one line, which was briefly shown by Alice?
No,
or did I get something wrong?
No,
Sorry.
You don't have to fill it in yourself. So it's just because we also work with a database. So if the client is in your system or it's a contact in your system, normally you already have the information, or you can auto-complete information like I showed you with Colruyt Group. The VAT number is automatically shown. So it's not something you have to fill in yourself. And if the system detects that the customer is not on PayPal, then it will also give you the notification.
Thank you, Alice. I see there's another question from Isha, please.
Yes, hello. I hope you can hear me well. I have a question for Alice. Since you have your own in-house accounting service, is it compatible with other services? Like, for instance, I have an accountant and he uses his own service, so I should check first if this would be compatible with Odoo, correct? Or do I have to use all Odoo solution?
No, so it really depends. It really depends on your accountant as well. So we have a lot of clients who, of course, use Odoo for their backend, for example, their website, their e-commerce, their sales, but their accountant is in another system. We also know it's very difficult to move accountants from one system to the other. So that doesn't need to be. So you can also only use invoicing yourself, and it's a really easy export tool as well. If the accountant works in a different system, you can just export the accountant. We also have a new function that you can actually activate where the accountant is in some sort, to simplify it, but in some sort of blind copy. So all the invoices you receive or send will automatically also be sent to the accountant. Okay, so both are possible.
Thank you. Katja, did you have a question? Katja, did you have a question?
Yes, I was just wondering if my question was actually almost the same Isha was just asking. I mean, if you're working with an accountant and you see in Odoo, you can basically do your whole business management and your whole accountancy, and you prepare everything. Can you also just simulate everything on it and then you don't send it to your accountant, or you just really send the invoices you have to send to get the quarterly declarations made? Or could you basically integrate your accountant into this, but the accountant
Yes.
can still continue working with his own system?
Yes, so this is really important to know. It actually are two ways of working. So, or you do the accounting yourself. So just know Odoo has a whole accounting module. So it's a full accounting. So you can do it yourself. If an accountant is registered at our website and we confirmed or we checked them, they can be a certified accountant, and they can also they are a free user in all Odoo clients. So they can be just a free user in your database and work in your own accounting module. So there are different ways of working. Or you don't include them in your software and they only have their own software. And then you just do the exports, or you include them in the blind copy, like I told you. Or the accountant can really be a user. Also for accountants, it's free. So they can be a free user and they can go into the database with certain access rights that needs to be configured. But they can go in the database of the client. So both are fine. Both are okay.
Thank you. There is a question in the chat. Does Odoo integrate with banks for auto reconciliation of payments?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, brilliant. And Elena?
In fact, there was a list of banks in your presentation I saw, which are the ones integrated, right, Alice? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And I think it's 26,000 or something. So the chances are quite big your bank will be will be one of the lists.
Thank you. My question is about the choice of the solution. Suppose the user decides to migrate from one system to another, let's say from Odoo to Accountable, from Accountable to Odoo after a year or maybe a few months. Is this possible? What would be the implications, let's say, if you decide to opt for a different solution?
Yeah, that is of course possible. Only because you can be registered in one access point, for example, you will just need to switch, but it is possible. It's not that if you register to Odoo, you will always be locked or be in prison with Odoo. So that's always possible. And we have a lot of clients that, of course, come from other systems that also need to change. So this is also something we support them with the transition.
Thank you. There's a final question from Katja. Coming back to the accountant, if you would feel competent enough, could you actually eliminate your accountant and do it all via Odoo?
Yes, so that's definitely possible. So if
you can get rid of him or her.
You can get, yeah, that's of course, and we have a lot of clients who do it. That's of course possible. So it's a standalone. If you want to do it yourself, it is definitely possible. So you don't need accountants.
That's great.
Of course, you need the knowledge and know how to do everything. So, but then you can, of course, come to our onboarding and we'll help you with everything.
Okay, I guess all the questions have been answered. So I'll give the floor to Elisa to introduce our last speaker.
Yes, well, we have a final speaker who's Jonathan Hassel from a third solution, which is Dockle. I think he's still online with us. Jonathan, you have the floor.
Thank you. Okay, I hope everybody can see my screen.
Yes, yep.
Bottom here, so I can see you all. Yes, hi everybody. My name is Jonathan Hazel. I'm the responsible for PEPL for Independence at Dockle. And actually, my father used to be a translator, my late father, and an interpreter, also for the European Union. So I do recognize a lot of the questions you have, but he was based in Leuven. I remember having him, because I have noticed that several of you said you don't receive invoices. I remember being told off by my father that I always needed to get an invoice on the company name when I needed to get stamps for the Christmas cards or so forth. So I think that you would still receive invoices. So I think that's still a relevant piece, or in any case, in my experience, my very, very personal experience, it was relevant. But that's just a side story. Because we're here, of course, about PEPL. I had some slides, but of course, the colleague from Bankup explained a lot of them. Maybe just one more that I wanted to introduce to come back on, because I saw a lot of questions on it. The fact for who is this mandatory? Well, actually, for everybody. You just can take it as a rule that it's for you. You're obliged to enroll or register on the PEPL network for everybody. Only you don't have to if you fall under Article 44 of the VAT code, and that's the only reason why you shouldn't. Otherwise, you should. If you're a Belgian VAT number, even if you pay less than 20, if your turnover is less than 25,000 euros, even if you only invoice private individuals, even if you only have international clients, then you still need to register. Just want to make that clear. In general, I think that's an important one to come back on. And the other slides we already explained, so we're winning some time here. And yes, and that was actually the summary. I think that for yourself, you need to ask yourself if you have a VAT number in Belgium, and then you can also say, do you receive invoices? Do you send invoices? Those are the more practical items there. Then you need to do so. But there was also somebody in the chat that mentioned, I don't receive any invoices or send out. I'm a passive VAT number. Well, even at that point, I'm not the expert there. Best to check with your accountant. But I would still expect you to be registered on PEPL. This is because they don't know that maybe in the coming year you'll still receive an invoice. So therefore, it needs to be done, right? That's important. Our solution is specifically for those that are using Word and Excel to create their invoices, and they don't want to change the way of working. Then Dockle is an ideal solution. What is our solution? And really cut to the chase. Well, we actually have two parts in our solution. It's rather simple. Purchases, invoices you can receive in Dockle is for everybody, for all people, for all independents. You can receive all your invoices in one place in Dockle, and I assume most of you know, because about 4 million Belgians already use Dockle on a monthly, weekly, daily basis. So there's a high chance some of you already use it, but it's for us, it's the same. It's invoicing. This is for free. All your invoices, there's no limit there, can be received in Dockle. I'll show you later on, if you're not familiar with Dockle, what it looks like. But all invoices are received for free in Dockle, which is required as a mandatory thing, of course, for PEPL, but also the registration is also taken care of for free. For sending invoices, well, there we are more for those that say we're not compared to Odoo or compared to Bankup or all the other tools, we don't have all those functionalities. We are very simple, and that comes it also has an aspect to that. But for us, there's no need to change your working methods. You can still make your invoice as you used to. You just make it in Excel or in Word. You PDF it, and then instead of dragging it to your email, you drag it to Dockle. You convert your invoice to the PEPL format, and then it sends it to the right party on the PEPL network. And therefore, you need a Docal Pro. I'll give you the price immediately at this point. It's €4 per month, but actually it's a bit lower because we have a promotion running it now that you can get a nice promotion, but I'll come back to that at the end of the presentation. What you should also know is that for both the purchase invoices and the sales invoices, these are shared with the accountant in the way that they like. We've been onboarding a lot of accountants on the Docal platform, and we haven't encountered any tool yet that has not been compatible yet. So all these invoices, being purchase invoices or sales invoices, can be transferred automatically if the accountant wants to, or can be downloaded by the accountant if they would rather download it manually in their own Docal account for accountants, which is for free for them. So there's absolutely no hurdle there. So with other words, the invoices as such can come through. My dad was an independent. I am now also an independent. And why do I choose Docal? Because which is not a big surprise probably why I choose Docal. But the thing is that I do not send that many invoices. I send about 15 to 20 invoices per year. Why do I need a complex tool for myself, which is usually not as flexible and not as cheap as my own Excel that I use to create an invoice? And that's why I use Docal, because it's a lot more flexible and the price is usually better. What are the benefits of Docal? Well, first of all, you can keep creating your sales invoices as you always have, and you keep your layout, because we just take your invoice that has been uploaded as it always has been. We take out the information and we send it. So your layout, you don't have to change anything. There's no new application required, so there's no learning curve. There's integration with all the accounting software. All your invoices are stored in one place, and there's actually the purchase invoices are for free and without limits. And you can handle nearly unlimited sales invoices for the rate of €4 per month. To clarify that, there is a limit on it of 500 invoices per year. I assume most of you are not in there. And after that, there's a price per invoice. But yeah, as I'll show you later on, the tool itself will limit the use. You will not like the tool if you're going to send 1,000 invoices per month, because that's where it's not made for that. It's specifically made for those small independents that do not send a lot of invoices. But let's make it a bit more clear and show you how it works. So the purchase invoices, actually, these are some screens from our mobile app, just to show you that an invoice arrives in the mobile app. And just as other invoices arrive, the structured data is visible, so you can see it, and then you compare it, of course. And you also have the option to look at the document, which of course then can be looked at. We always create a PDF. Why? Because we noticed that usually people want to see a document, and some companies like to be able to print it and then mark it in their own processes. Well, we create a PDF even if there was no PDF sent. So in any case, we'll always provide you a document so you can handle it in the way you're used to. But nevertheless, we'll always show also the structured data so you can treat it quickly or process it more efficiently if that's your cup of tea, of course. So receiving invoice is rather easy. Sales invoice, again, there at that point I'll switch to the live demo. I put it in French. Docal, of course, Docal is available in English, Dutch, French, German. And I'll put it in French because of some of the questions that we received. But of course, it's available in others. And sorry about that, went a bit too quick. So I'm in Docal. This is the normal home screen that you arrive. And if you want to send an invoice, you click on Envoyer et facture. At that point, you select your invoice, which I created ahead of time in a PDF. I PDF'd it, and then I upload it. At this time, our AI is analyzing the invoice, and it's taking out all the information that you need for a PEPL invoice, right? And we're going to structure it according to the PEPL format. And you can see on the left all the different types of information that you need to double check. You can see the invoice date that we captured. We also calculate the date d'échange, the payment due date is also calculated. the information of the customer, the payment details, the invoice lines, the total amount, the amounts and everything's shown. And my job is, as a user, as an independent, is then to double check if everything was done correctly. If there was a mistake, because why do we ask it? Because it's AI. We know AI can do amazing things, but nevertheless, 99% it's correct, but 1% it could be wrong. So always double check it. And then you can alter it where you need to, right? By clicking on the crayon. Now, we also do some checks. We also check if the other party is available on Peppol, reachable. If it's not reachable, if you can't send an invoice to the person on Peppol, we'll automatically propose to send an email. Because we received some information, and maybe slightly different than the colleague from Bankup mentioned. When we talk to, because we have monthly meetings with the government, Flemish government, or the federal government on Peppol, etc. And there they mentioned that they assume that most people will be on Peppol, but of course, Belgians being Belgians, not all people, not 100% will be registered on Peppol. In that case, what should you do? Well, they mentioned you are okay for sending an invoice, but you're registered, so you're okay with Peppol, but it's important you still send out your invoice. Do send it by email then. That's what they gave us as an advice, the federal government. So at that point, I would still send an invoice by email, so you at least get your money. It's their problem. You're not going to stick with your cash flow issues. They could result in cash flow issues if your customers are not on Peppol. So that's not the goal of this. The goal is to get everybody on Peppol, and it's not your job to get people on Peppol, right? So that was the main message we got. Now, if the other person is not on Peppol, you can we will automatically propose, would you want to send this by email? You can write in your email address, you can write a message there, and you can click send, envoyer, and the invoice is sent, right? Now, my other party, Valor Consulting, is connected on the Peppol network, and therefore I checked all the lines, and the only thing I need to do is click on send, and the invoice is sent, and I'm done. So there's not a lot of things you need to do, right? It's rather easy. There's not a lot of buttons. There's no customer database. There's no product catalog. Therefore, it's fairly easy to use. And that's what our difference is compared to all the other tools. It's what I just showed you. So maybe coming back to the, that was a clip there.
I think there's a question. Can we do both Peppol and email?
So the idea is that as soon as you send an invoice, you'll send a Peppol invoice at that time. The customer itself will not receive an invoice, or it will depend on the customer itself, right? So what I mean with that, sorry about that. No, what I'm saying is we send out an invoice, and the invoice is at that point, the PDF is no longer relevant. It's just the Peppol invoice. The PDF is no longer a formal document. At that point, it's no longer relevant to send it that way. If they're registered on Peppol, they are receiving those invoices, and they can follow it up through their own Peppol access point. You should really imagine, if you're receiving invoices, you're not going to be looking at your email anymore for your invoice. You'll be looking at the place where you receive your Peppol invoices. If it's Docal, it's Docal. If it's Odoo, it's Odoo. If it's Bankup, it's Bankup, right? So you'll look at that tool to look at your invoices. That's an important thing to recognize, right? How would you start? With regard to your own, so if you're in Docal, you just log in. On the top right, at this point, you still see a card there, self-employed. You just click on that, or you go to the next part. You need to register your company. You come to this screen, and you need to register your company. That's done via It's Me or via a form if you don't have It's Me. So it's done rather easily. And then your company is registered, and you can activate. I'm still showing the different steps. So you select your company, you select the company effect, and then you provide access, and then the company is registered, and then you can activate Peppol Pro, right? Now, there's not only that, we also have other things to facilitate the life of an independent, because we also know that you need to scan parking tickets, some invoices. We should still keep in mind that not all documents are going to be sent by PEPL, right? We're still talking about payslips. We're talking about documents from insurance companies, all those other documents that you could receive. Well, DOCL has, I think, nearly all of the social secretaries, the payroll service providers, the Secretariat Social, they are connected to DOCL, and they send their payslips via DOCL. So you can also set up a link between those payslips automatically, again, with your accountant, right? So they also arrive in DOCL. You can process them as you want to, and then send it through. You can also upload documents from emails. Also, those can be automatically sent through to the accountant. Same with receipts and parking tickets. Same with all the rest. And since a couple of weeks now, we also have a DOCL account for accountants, which is free for them, which allows them to have a view on those specific documents, so they don't need your questions, or they don't need to they don't need you to ask to configure anything. They can do it themselves. Which we've noticed has been a big help for them. As this is also for free for them, we're not looking for any money there, because we're profitable enough with our bigger model being saving money for the big companies going digital, because that's the main business model of DOCL, right?
Jonathan, if I may comment on this, we have a question on the chat on whether it's possible to manage your solution from a computer and a mobile app at the same time, or if one of them is preferable?
No, same are possible. At this point, uploading an invoice is not possible on mobile. We didn't prioritize that. Why? Because usually when you're making an invoice, an Excel or Word, you're not doing it on a mobile, you're doing it on your computer. So that's where we said, let's focus on that part. It's possible that will come in the future, but sending the invoice is only on the computer version, but all the rest is possible in both the mobile app as well as on the computer.
Mm-hmm. And there was also a question on whether your solution is really free, because most interpreters are issuing sales invoices more than purchase invoices. Mm-hmm. The version that you would need from DOCL would be the professional one in that case, the €4 a month.
Send invoices,
is that correct?
Yes. So our solution is free if you only receive invoices. For the one person that wasn't sending any sales invoices, it would be free. Or if you only have invoices that you're sending to individuals, then you wouldn't need to have any. You can still send them out as you do today, like to private individuals. Then it remains free. But if you have, and that's it's true, if as soon as you need to send an invoice on PEPL, then it becomes, we need to have a price. Why is that? Because we have the cost of the AI we need to pay. And that was for something that we can't compensate with the other rest, because receiving invoices also costs money for us, but that we can compensate by the big companies that pay us. But the AI transferring those documents to an AI, that's something we sadly enough need to ask some amount.
Of course, yeah. This was also a question that many members were asking, if there is a free solution at all in the Belgian market, if you would say.
At this point, to cover all, and I mean everything, I'm not aware of it yet. I do think if you're really active, you could probably combine tools. To be honest, and taking receiving in DOCL and sending with another tool. If you are active, you could do that. But then you're managing several tools. Yeah, if you're really up to it and you really want to put in the time. But I always say time is also money. That's what my dad used to say. So yeah, it's up to you. Of course, if you're creative, I'm sure you can find a solution that you wouldn't have to pay any money.
Mm-hmm.
It will cost you time, and that's also.
Of course, yeah. And there was also a question on the chat from members that are already using DOCL to receive their private invoices, say for gas bills or internet.
Yeah.
If they have a professional account, would it be linked, or do they need to do something to separate them?
No. So if you have two accounts, well, it all depends on how you do it. Me, myself, for example, I combine both in one DOCL environment, in one DOCL account. Why? Because it's just me and myself. So I like to have the invoice of the hospital that I need to pay, or from the Mutualité Chrétienne I need to pay or see. I like it. And then my invoice from my telco provider. like to, that's all my business. I like to see it in one account so I can manage it all. But say, for example, that you have somebody else working with you that does some of your administration, then you probably would not like that your hospital invoices are shown to them. So if that's the case, then I would suggest to create a different account. It can have the same email address, but you just go to the Docal page. I can show it quickly because it's a question we often get, and then it's best just to show it.
Yes, because many of us have companies, so we would also have the company invoices and the company costs, which should be separate from the private ones.
Yeah, first I need to log off, of course, with my personal account. So if I click on create your account or log in, you will always end up, you can get up to this screen. If you arrive at this screen, you just click on create an account, and then you can type in your email address. I'll just do mine very quickly. I receive a code. Let me quickly check that code. There we go. That's 905-786. Oh. And then I create an account. If there's already an account created, because apparently there wasn't yet on this account, let me do another one. I think that this one probably works. This code 125904. No, 125, not 3, sorry. So you see this option, and then I can create a company account. So then you have the option to create a new account, which is totally separate. And if I click on that, I can click in a different username. It still has the same email address, so you don't have like to look at different email addresses, but you still have your own email address. You can call it at your company name, whatever, give it a password, and you're done. And then you have a separate account, which is then not linked with It's Me. Don't create a company account with It's Me, because that contains personal data. You don't want to link that to your company, and then you're off, right? But that's important. Just create an email address. But it all depends on your situation. As I mentioned, I don't do that. I just keep it in one account because, well, I do all the administration at home. For me and my wife and my 3 children. So that's why I prefer it this way. But it's possible.
Mm-hmm. We had a question from Beatrice, which I think was indirectly answered before, which regards using Docal with clients that are abroad or based abroad. It is possible, right?
Yes, you can send in an email. You just type in the email address and the invoice is sent. The company abroad is not on Peppol, Belgian Peppol, unless they have a Belgian subsidiary, for example, then they would be. But then, of course, you have a Belgian VAT number, and then you just send by Peppol. That's a bit the idea. Okay.
I don't know if we have any other questions from our members. I think the general lines were already covered. Many of us are looking for solutions that are affordable, that are simple to use, to apply, especially since we have to comply by January. Yeah. Some of us have more activity in the private market and are looking for more elaborate solutions. And I think all 3 providers offer different things. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, I'm checking if we have any other questions. Does it work in other EU countries? I suppose you're referring to Docal, whether Docal works in other countries?
Well, if that the question is if it would work, I've received my email because at this point, Docal is Belgium based, so it's Belgian companies that are linked to Docal. But I could use it in any country, of course, because it's a web-based solution. But it's will it be able to send invoices to companies on the Italian Peppol network? That won't, for example. That's not possible at this point. It's something we're investigating, but at this point, it's not possible.
Okay, and I see we have some hands. Sorry, Jonathan.
Yeah, because I'll first ask the questions, and then I'll have a couple more slides, but not much, just to wrap up.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, sorry. Should we cover a few questions first, and then?
Yeah. Sure.
Elena, you were first.
Thank you. So we have a question from the audience that was submitted previously. Is it compulsory to receive an invoice through the platform to make it count as a professional expense? And here I would clarify, it may be not so much a question for Dokal, actually.
No,
I would clarify that we receive two kinds of invoices.
More general
Yes.
questions. Well, as I understand it, and this is what has been confirmed to us by the federal government, is that an invoice no longer will be, if an invoice is sent on the Peppol network, the e-invoice that you've created at that point becomes a real invoice, right? As we used to have, this has not changed in the past, or this will not change. If you have an invoice, then you can deduct the taxes, and you don't have to pay VAT. If you have a Peppol invoice, then you can deduct the VAT. If you don't send it on Peppol, then of course you won't be able to deduct the VAT because it's not a real invoice at that time. However, if you're registered on Peppol, then you would still, because in the beginning phase, and I come back to the previous question, and because what do I do if the other person is not on Peppol? It's still recognized as an official invoice because the other party is not on Peppol, so you cannot send it. But if you're on the receiving side, then I would assume the Flemish government, not the Flemish, the federal government will state that the invoice you cannot deduct from your taxes because it should have been in Peppol invoices. So that will be an additional risk I see for those companies that have not been registered on Peppol. An expense versus an invoice is something.
And then the expenses like this, because we also make purchases and we, let's say, just, we buy stationery and an expense looks like this. What do we do with things like this?
That's not on the Peppol network. That's not on Peppol network because it's not an invoice. It's just an expense. Because that was what I was coming to. You have expenses and purchase invoices. An expense remains an expense. You can't deduct the taxes of the VAT from that expense. And that's the disadvantage of an expense versus an invoice, is that if you expense it, you can expense anything. You can buy a computer and expense it, or you can buy a computer on an invoice. It's better to do the invoice because then you don't have to pay the VAT. That's a bit the principle there.
Katja.
So that doesn't change. Expenses remains the same. You just want to send it to your accountant and they'll expense it at that point. And that will mean that they will take the total cost into cost instead of just the cost without the VAT. If that's clear for everybody.
Katja, you had a question as well?
Yeah, it's actually just two maybe practical questions to things you already presented, because you mentioned when you were doing the demonstration that AI is doing stuff for us. So if you upload an invoice format and the first time, for example, AI picks some things wrong or converts some elements in the wrong way, and then I go manually over it and I correct those things. These corrections I have made, will they be saved? Or do I have to do that every time I start uploading the same invoice format again, for example?
Yes. For us, privacy is very important. So no, we don't keep those at this point. However, we do have a possibility that you send us the feedback. We have already adapted and we improve our AI model every 6 to 8 weeks. We do a new release of the AI model, and during the time, and what is it based on? All the input that we receive. Because some people say, we have an invoice with, how do you call it? Leeggoed. What is it in English? With all these translators, somebody should know. Leeggoed is when you have a bottle of, when you're buying a case of beer, all the bottles, you get a statiegeld. It has a certain number on it. You get an amount back if you bring the empty bottles back. And that's the idea. I'm just explaining in words. Somebody should know. This should be the audience, I hope.
Yes, but we...
Not Dutch to English, apparently. I know my dad, he always said he translated any language, from any language to any language. But of course, he didn't do it all himself. He had a network that did everything. So I know how this works. You can't expect a translator to know every language. But nevertheless, we had some feedback from some customers saying, hey, that's not going very well. No worries. We updated the model and now it's going a lot better. And we are continually improving our process there. So if there's some items that you see this is not working well, do provide it to us. and within a maximum 2 months, it will be improved and should work a lot better. But it all depends on when you're asking the question in those 2 months. If you're just asking it a week before the release, then we can just quickly improve it, and then it will be a week later, of course, improved already. So it all depends on where you're at, but on Mac, probably on average within a month.
Okay, and the second practical question was when you demonstrated that you can create a second company account.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's face it, if we have started all very optimistically in it and we have it all mixed, is there
Oh, that's
any
no worries.
easy way to split it up
Yeah, just let us know.
retroactively?
Yeah, we also see that happen. No worries. You just let us know, saying I want to move those accounts to the other account. We'll ask some identification, of course, because who knows otherwise, and then we can move them for you. No worries.
Jonathan, some members were asking about a special offer that you mentioned, and I know that the other platforms as well have their own offers. We will also share them by email when sharing the recording, but if you could mention it again briefly.
Yeah, of course. So maybe I'll just go through the rest of the slides. So as a summary, Peppol is an opportunity, as my colleagues have mentioned. It can make life a lot easier, purchasing all your invoice, getting them all in one place, and not only the Peppol, but also the other things. That's an important one. Then sales via Peppol or email, just try to get everything there, and in the end, share it. Maybe I'll come to that later on. I'll note it down that for the other part later on. And then again, repeating the benefits of the invoicing via Docal. You can read your invoices as you always have, keep your layout, no new application needed, integration with the accounting software, all your invoices stored in one place, and receive purchase invoices for free or handling unlimited sales invoices for a rate of just €4. But of course, then it comes to this. What's our promotion? Well, our promotion is actually the following. We said, of course, we need to do a promotion. Why do we need to do a promotion? Because we want to try to reward the people that are moving on time. And in the summer, we had a promotion where we gave 30% lifelong discount for all those that were subscribed in the summer. At this point, we're at 20% lifetime discount, so decreased. Again, for those to award them that have been now. We're now at the tipping point where we go probably down again. So really to reward the people that are moving fast, and they get a lifelong discount. What does that mean? After January, it won't go up in price. It's just the 20% discount you get for life. At this point, it's €4. So that would mean at this point, you would pay €3.20 per month, which is billed annually. So that's what you would need to pay at if you take a Docal. And also, again, because we think rewarding is important, we convinced the marketing department also to provide an extra incentive there for those. And if you scan the code, apologies, the website is only in Dutch and French because we needed to cut some costs somewhere. And English fell off. Apologies about that, but I hope that everybody understands Dutch and French. If not, do let me know and I'll explain to you what's on the pages and everything. But at this point, you could also win a trip to Japan, and it's not a trip for everybody. It's only for the first 10,000 that enrolled. At this point, there are already about 7,000 that have enrolled in the that have participated in the competition. So and now we see it coming down quickly, so you could win a trip to Japan, or there are 4 or 5 tickets to of other travel, what do you call them, checks to for €500 you could also win. So yes,
nice. So it means there's still 3,000 tickets left to Japan.
Yes. Even more at this point. I think it's about 5,000 or 7,000. I think at this point, but it's going down fast. So if you want to join, there are 10,000 in total there. So yeah, if you want to participate, there's a high chance you win something. Mm-hmm. The person that participated in our last competition won a prize. It was a person that was a binnenschipper, which was somebody who what do you call it? Conducts boats, steers boats on the canals and everything. He was 58, pensioned, and still was a freelancer boater for that matter. So
wonderful.
He won a prize. I was very happy with his trip to the Maldives. That was a pretty
wow.
Okay.
Some members are asking, until when is this 20% discount valid? I thought it was for life.
Yeah, maybe so the 20% is for life. So if you enroll now, you get it for life.
You say if
it's only
you enroll
a limited number. So if everybody stops enrolling now, you could say, I think we need to close the competition at one point. I think it's the 31st of December, but we probably won't reach that. So it all depends on how fast everybody enrolls. So that will depend.
Perfect. Someone was asking about the AI, whether it would recognize English as a language when extracting data. It would, despite the website being only available in 2 languages.
No, sorry about that. Just the website of the competition is only Dutch and French.
Oh, okay.
The tool, of course, also works.
Of course, yeah.
And no worries about that. No. We can't do that. That would not be smart. No. It works in English, Dutch, French. German, I haven't tested it yet personally, but I assume it would also work in German too, because of the 4 core languages. Because Dokkel is a national company that works with a lot of government agencies too. So we also always produce the entire application in the 4 languages. So that's why.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. We will share all information via email with the members so that they have a recording of the session, information of the different trainings that you have, the different offers, your websites, and perhaps maybe also your contact data if they have any urgent questions later on, maybe not now. I don't know if there's any questions now, any burning questions that were left unanswered, because the chat kept on flowing. So I hope we were able to answer everything. Any doubts? I'll leave it a few seconds.
If you have any questions for Dokkel, email community@dokkel.be or our website, or we also have a webinar. But actually, what I presented now is actually the webinar. But still, if you have a webinar, you could ask more questions.
Perfect. Well, I would like to thank the 3 speakers, Josefa, Alice, and Jonathan, for their time on a Saturday morning.
Welcome.
And for being available to us. I see that there's no more questions, so I'll give the floor to Federica, who's going to tell us a bit something more information on the badge that PRIMS has now developed. So you have the floor.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, thank you to the speakers. Again, I think this was very insightful and badly needed as well. So thank you so much. Just for your information, as you know, PRIMS has, with ATPD, has launched a pilot project on skills and, upskilling and reskilling. So every training sessions will provide the participants with a badge, which is an upskilling badge. So all participants will receive the finance upskilling badge for today's meeting, and you can use it on your social media. You can use it with your clients to show that you actually do CPD courses, and you try to upskill, and in some occasions reskill as well. So that's all. You will receive it via Elena, I believe. Yeah. So that's it. And we hope that you found this training useful, this webinar useful, and we're looking forward to organizing more. Katja, I'll give you the floor.
Katja, your microphone.
Thanks. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Federica. I don't really have much else to say before closing the event. I can only say it was a pleasure. Preparation and with the team, and a big thank you to everyone involved. And there is more opportunities in the coming weeks where we have also the regional assembly, for example, the next mentoring program gathering. If anybody still dwells a bit on the topic and wants to maybe have a chat with other colleagues over a beer or a glass of wine. I mean, that's definitely on. We hope to see you all on the 9th of December in the Atelier 29 for the Regional Assembly. And then on the 12th of December, with the monthly gathering and the mentoring program, we will be out again on the beer bank. So everyone's invited, of course. And as we said in the beginning, we have done the recording, and I believe, Federica, we can upload the recording as well on the AIIC YouTube channel for better access. But we will follow up by mail that everybody gets all the material. And with that, I would say, yeah, we enjoy our weekend now. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a lovely
Thanks,
weekend.
everyone.
Thank you for the
Bye-bye.
opportunity. Have a nice weekend.
Bye.